The South African Local Government Association in Gauteng is holding an elective provincial conference ending today. Salga says the significance of the conference is to set the agenda for the next 5 years. For more on this, I'm joined by Nonkoliso Tundzi, Hawu, Deputy Chairperson of Salga Gauteng Provincial Executive Committee. Thank you so much for joining us, ma'am. Thank you for your time. The elective conference is set to end today. Let's take stock, perhaps, of what the past few days have been like and what it's all entailed.
Morning, Paul, and good morning to listeners and viewers. Gauteng Salga Provincial Members Assembly has started to organize itself in a form of an assembly, which started yesterday. Amongst other things, besides the elections of the office bearers and the PC members, the Members' Assembly is meant to get feedback on the previous term on how Salga has performed. Yesterday, we had a number of topics that were discussed in our sessions, which were meant to provoke and influence policy decisions as we are moving forward to Salga National Conference. Some of the issues might require legislative amendment. So those issues were tabled in a form of different discussions where we had a panel of members who would make sure that we have some kind of a reflection on the current state of affairs of local government. If there's any need for us to influence legislation or any policy, we take it from there, and it should be resolved in a members' assembly. And it should be one of the mandates of the PC to make sure that should there be a need for that policy change, they must champion it.
In your discussions around policy topics and all those issues, I would imagine that one of the discussion points that may have come out of these talks would be the municipality's relationship with power utility Eskom, which has been a cause of concern. Talk to us about those discussions around Eskom and the others that were under the spotlight.
Let me start with reflecting that Salga is a body that is a voice of municipalities. It is important that every time we have a consolidated voice which gets its expression through Salga. As you are reflecting on the matter of Eskom, we as municipalities have raised the issues which affect negatively the services of Eskom, including the tariffs that are posed by Eskom to our consumers, and we had a view on that, and as such, we are part of the discussions and the decisions that are made to make sure that the voice of municipality does not fall on deaf ears, because we believe that those rates are a bit high for the consumers to afford.
And what were some of the other concerns that also came out as you were in these discussions? Because I do understand that you are, hell-bent on ensuring that there is a solid agenda for the next 5 years. I would imagine electricity, power to be an issue. What were some of the other pressing points?
Some of the other pressing points is that we want to ensure that Salga remains relevant as a voice of the municipalities. Two, we want to strengthen the functionality of the municipalities by giving a proper support to them. You would understand that there are a number of municipalities which are picked up as poor performing, and as a result of those poor performance in those municipalities, you would end up having municipalities who get qualified audit outcomes, disclaimers in the categories that are not acceptable. So we want to make sure and strengthen the support that is provided to municipalities and ensure that they are at least getting a support, whether it's technical support or otherwise, just to ensure that we move those municipalities who are on the red to be at a better position, so that they are a good institution that is going to be trusted by the consumers in terms of service delivered.
A lot of those poor performing municipalities that are in the red, as you try and get an understanding of why. I mean, there are many elements like corruption and so forth, but there is the element of also not understanding duties and roles, especially looking at the issues of ward councillor versus PR councillor in defining the roles and objectives so that municipalities can function. How important is that, and what are the varying distinctions?
The role of councillors in general is to make sure that they represent their communities and take decisions informed by the community needs. The only difference is that in the setup of the election system, you would have ward councillors who are a direct outcome of the preference of the community, and then your PR councillors are as a result of the party organizations contesting elections. But in general, they are all categorized as councillors, and they do the same job in the same constituencies. The only issue is that ward councillors are more closer to the communities. They are the ones who are the voice, the eyes and ears of both the municipality and their communities, in a way of, if there are any issues that need to be prioritized by the municipality, those issues must be tabled in council, so that when at a time when the budget is passed, at least there is a way of trying to address some of those issues, but not leaving out the issue of the responsibility of the same councillors to encourage that the communities must also understand that to get a better service also means that those who can afford must pay for their rates and taxes so as to boost the revenue of the municipality. And at the end, the municipality will have a muscle to plow back to the communities in terms of improving the service delivery.
When it comes to priorities, where are you looking to prioritize? I mean, you speak about people who must pay for their services, and, you know, as you speak, I can't help but think of Soweto residents and what they've had to say about their power issues and, you know, refusing to pay for some amounts that have been set forward, saying that they simply cannot afford those amounts.
For the communities who cannot afford to pay for the services, there's a service that is provided by government where you as an individual consumer, you go to the municipality, register as an indigent, then after your indigent has been approved, you are now exempted from paying for the services. There are those who can afford but are not paying. I think there's a gap in terms of ensuring that there's proper education on why is it that important for people to pay for their services. Because in most cases, our previously black community locations are the ones which have a challenge of the non-payment of services.
Very lastly, before we let you go, in terms of the nomination process underway with the conference, what are the expectations? How many people are being looked at? And what will the entire process entail for those who will be trusted with the budget for the next 5 years?
Constitutionally, we are expected to nominate and elect 10 members, the chairperson of the province, including the 3 deputy chairpersons and 6 additional members. We are going to open up for nominations from various municipalities, and then later we are going to vote. Then the outcomes of voting is what is going to determine who should take a position of responsibility at Salga PC in Gauteng.
Very well. Let's leave it there for now. Thank you for your time, Tundzi. Hawu, speaking to us there about some of the processes that will need to take place as Salga in Gauteng will be electing new leaders. The conference ends today, so results should be expected in the next few days.